I got one here on page 4 from the Goose. Hey guys, currently training for selection. I don't know what selection that is, but congratulations to you for taking the challenge. I do gym work, mostly compound stuff, deadlift, squats several times a week, and rucking once or twice a week depending on the distance, and swimming whenever I can squeeze it in. Um, Other than that, I do a lot of running almost every day, and here lies my question. How do I split my long distance versus short distance versus sprints properly? Everywhere I look, people advocate either focusing on this or that, many claiming that long distance runners hinders explosiveness needed for sprinting, vice versa. Sprinting hurts your endurance, your ability to keep up on long runs. Any advice?
Honestly, I'd like for you, in your experience preparing for selection, where did you prioritize those things? Oh, and let's also clarify. Selection as in training for not buds for.
Well, that's.
But we don't know what they're saying.
Yeah, because buds is a selection course, so.
Okay, so then maybe you go with that.
I'll just model off buds. The only thing that matters in buds is the screen test. Push-ups, pull-ups, running, swimming, O course, agility, and staying healthy. That's the only thing that matters. Nobody gives a shit if you're a sprinter. If you can pass the run, you can pass the run. And that's the thing. It's like, don't confuse the job with the course to get to the job. It's very different.
Repeat that.
Yeah, don't confuse the job with the selection course to get to the job. So like if you want to be a SWAT team guy, like a really badass one, don't train to do the SWAT team job because that's very different than doing 42 push-ups, 50 sit-ups, 8 pull-ups, and a mile and a half run or whatever it is. It's very different because you could be the most badass CQB ninja on earth. You could be a IPSC grandmaster and a tactician with 25 years of experience in Army SF. And if you fail the screen test to come in there because you can't run, you can't do the job. They're not going to let you. So it's like a lot of people are like, I've been training fast twitch, so rope climbs, I'm getting ready for free fall. What? Like, brother, that's not what you're training for, dude. That's not. And I tell everybody, not solicited to say this shit, the safest approach I have ever found to going to buds is doing Stu Smith's program. That dude has written one for every single selection course. And it's got weights involved, it's got kettlebells, it's got a bunch of other shit, but he trains for what buds is. Like, there is technique to it, and to make your job easier, you train on things that are known. So, I mean, he posts them all on Instagram, damn near daily. It'll be like a CST review, and he'll have some kid in the pool doing his 500 meter combat side stroke, and he critiques it. And he's a beautiful coach, man. He's really good, like head positioning. How long is he gliding for? What's his breath count? Just everything. Like, he knows from this end of the pool to this end of the pool, it takes you this many strokes to be on pace. If it takes you more than that, you're not gliding long enough or your technique blows. If you're cutting that number in half, blah, 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 blah. It's very scientific, but it's made for normal-ass people to do, man. Like, we're doing push-up pyramids to get good at push-ups because if you don't do 42 perfect on that day, you can't go. Oh. Yeah, I know, like, people are like, well, I'm training for long distance. What's the longest you have to run the course? If it's 4 miles, that's not very long. Like, if there's a 15-mile conditioning run that you have to pass at a 9-minute mile, that's definitely something to train for. But you also got to understand that that run is at the very end of buds. It's at 6 months in. There's no reason for you to be able to run that when you show up because you're either going to get in better shape or worse shape. And I'd say the closer you come to peaking at the beginning of buds, the worse you'll be. Like, people show up and it's like, that's not when you want to be at your optimal. Like, if you could peak after second phase, like, that's where you kind of want to go. Because everything gets harder. So it's like, dudes show up and it's like, I'm ready. I've been training for 6 months. I'm doing this. I can run this. I can run that. Brother, you realize we're running 12 miles every fucking single day, Monday through Friday, for the next 6 months. With no conditioning runs. Just a chow. Like, it's a 2-mile run the chow. Mandatory, we're eating 3 times a day. So what are we doing? Like, it's a lot of running, dude. And people get shin splints and they're like, I don't know why. Because you weren't ready for reality. It's like, just look at that. It's like, yeah, people are like, well, I don't want to lose my fast twitch. Brother, you ain't going to need it. Like, there's nothing fast twitch in buds. Like, you don't need it. You need to be able to survive the O course and not get hurt. So, I mean, I tell everybody, I'm like, dude, I'd watch out, but it's the same reason like when guys train to go to like green team or something else. They're like, oh, I started skydiving a bunch. I wouldn't do that. Like, don't. They're going to teach you how to jump. I'd fly in a wind tunnel, nice and safe, because you roll an ankle, it's over. You blow out an ACL wakeboarding on the weekends, the day before selection starts, you're not going. Right? I mean,
I absolutely love. I mean, I've heard DJ go on that rant before, so I was kind of expecting it. But the similarities with debates I've had with sport coaches, it's the same thing. Like they're preparing an athlete, we can say football example, for the season. Like, bro, when he leaves your gym, he's not touching the season for 3 months. You're not preparing him for the season. You're preparing him for training camp. No different than like DJ said, you're not preparing for something 6 months away. All that is going to be gone. You're preparing for buds. And like you don't want to peak too early. You want to peak going into it. Like, oh, I got to get my body fat so low. Why? Why have a little body fat on you? Like having some weight that can come off of you as you're going into it. Like that to me that makes sense.